mostly in Milton Keynes, with not one but 2 World Championships. It all felt like one big long extended season that was just a little bit more unhinged.
Just phone the police.
So here are the most insane shots from the lockdown era, and the crazy stories that inevitably lie behind all of them. Our first shot comes from the postponed 2020 World Championships, from one of the craziest days the Crucible has ever seen. It was the deciding frame in the semi-final between Anthony McGill and Kyren Wilson. Both players had created chances that they couldn't quite take, but Kyren looked to have won it by getting Anthony in a snooker that he just never hit.
Is he high? Is he high?
Kyren had it won until the unthinkable happened on the very next shot as he let Anthony back into the match.
Surely not.
After a long safety battle, both players ended up trying to pot the last red into the middle pocket off the baulk cushion. Both players came close on a couple of occasions, but our first shot is when Anthony finally got it and gave himself a chance to win the game.
That's closer.
This shot didn't need anything special, just nerve, but as the cue ball gets closer and closer to the side cushion, it actually becomes an easier shot, so the first few attempts would have been a little bit harder than this. It looked like Anthony was about to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, but this frame wasn't going to be over that easily as he snookered himself in behind the pink. After another long safety battle, Kyren finally won the frame by fluking the green, something neither player wanted to see, but was almost the only way this mad frame was ever going to come to an end.
There was a couple bonking above me at about 11:45.
Marco Fu and Mark Allen both struggle with travel restrictions. But due to the lack of a crowd, Shaun Murphy just seemed to be struggling in general, which led to one of the craziest ends to a frame we've seen in some time. He was trying to play safe on this pink, but ended up potting it accidentally, which left him a really tough black in the Masters against Mark Williams. So he went for it and got it. It's probably the most insane pot we've seen all season. Normally a professional snooker player wouldn't even consider a shot from this distance that's so close to the cushion, mostly because you're likely to leave it on if you miss. I was happy to get it in just 4 attempts, but this actually begins the story of our next shot.
Well, just phone the police. That is one of the best pots I've ever seen in my life.
Because Mark Williams had a problem that meant even when he was completely outplaying his opponents in all other areas, he was still losing matches. No matter how well he broke off, he kept leaving chances for his opponent. He decided the only way to prevent Shaun Murphy from potting off his break in their first round Masters encounter was to roll into the back of the reds. This got a lot of criticism from some players, but others just copied him. Mark was annoyed by the criticism as he didn't see why he wasn't allowed to play a perfectly legal shot. Criticism which he responded to by smashing the balls open in some matches that didn't really matter that much. A shot he considered repeating when he was 11 frames to 3 behind in the World Championship quarterfinals against Mark Selby, but instead he decided to attempt this 4-cushion break-off to nestle again in the back of the pack. So it's this odd shot that seems completely weird out of context that we're going to be trying to recreate. It just requires quite a bit of left-hand side and to be played at the right angle. I was initially surprised by how hard you had to hit it, as the 4 cushions really took the speed out of the cue ball, but got it right on my second attempt.
Obviously I don't care who wins it, I'm out, so I'm going out to play golf, whoever wins it on Monday. Really, I don't care, you know.
Our next shot is a snooker escape from Gerard Green that goes horribly wrong, but at the same time couldn't have finished any better. He's attempting to land on the red in behind the black spot, but finds an unlikely gap, which leaves the cue ball even safer than he could have hoped for.
That's one way of getting out of it.
I realise I could have chosen a lot of shots like this, but I'm doing this one because I think I've got a fair chance of actually getting it. To play this shot, I'm using a tracer right-hand side to make the cue ball break wide off 2 cushions and get through the narrowest of gaps. This bizarre stroke of fortune allowed Gerard to keep the frame safe and didn't give John Higgins a chance. Gerard ended up winning the frame with a 100 break, but lost the match to John Higgins overall.
I went 9-6 up, and after that he played really well, he didn't miss the ball. until the last frame really. I had a great chance.
Jack Lisowski impressively got himself to 3 tournament finals this year. But he lost all 3 of those finals to the same man. Unfortunately for Jack, he came up in all of those finals against an informed Judd Trump. This unfairly got him a reputation as a bit of a bottler, but in an incredibly tough first round match against Ali Carter, he pulled out one of the bravest shots of the championships to give himself a match-winning chance. This got him an impressive victory against an informed Ali Carter who seemed to be outplaying him for the majority of the match. The shot itself requires a lot of backspin and a small amount of right-hand side to help control the cue ball to remain on the black. I would have liked to have got this a little bit quicker than just 3 attempts, but it goes to show what a difficult shot this is under pressure. But it's the one that got Jack into the next round of the World Championships.
I enjoyed that. What about you?
We've got a Ronnie O'Sullivan shot coming up next, but first we're going to find Taylor from Lanson in Tasmania. There. Someone else who had a bit of a mad year would have been Ronnie O'Sullivan, winning the World Championships in August, doing some weird interviews, the odd argument, playing on in frames well after he'd actually lost them, and getting to 4 other finals. So in a lot of ways, nothing out of the ordinary for Ronnie, but his craziest shot was probably the one against Jordan Brown as he was trying to force a decider and finished a little bit out of position and decided to play this ridiculous long blue. I remember watching this live and thinking to myself, surely he's not going to take that on, but not only did he take it on, he actually got it. With my first attempt, however, I didn't quite get it. This just requires a small amount of backspin to drag the cue ball through onto the red into the middle pocket. But unfortunately, this wasn't quite enough. He lost the next frame and technically ended the season without winning a tournament.
I need to get a correction from somewhere. I might go on Amazon later and see if Bezos can deliver me one tomorrow.
When you think of the best positional shot of the year, you're probably thinking about this one from Judd Trump. But I think we've seen enough of that shot, so I'm choosing this one from Mark Selby. This one also has a fairly straightforward pot and requires a lot of accuracy with the cue ball to get on the next red.
It's a great attempt.
This for me was probably one of the best shots of 2020 simply because of how straight he was on the blue. You need to play this with full power with a small amount of right hand side and backspin to make the angle. You need to judge everything to perfection if you want to have any chance of landing in between these 2 reds. I was playing this a little bit better than normal because the last few times I tried it I'd had a few shots where I hadn't got anywhere near. But my 3rd attempt I finally got in between the gap, which I was pretty impressed with. Unfortunately I put the reds a little bit too far apart.
I just felt it was a little disrespectful to me at the table.
I think the most extraordinary shot I've seen this year is this one from Louis Heathcote. But as it was in the World Championship qualifiers, no one really saw it. A shot they did all see was Judd Trump's wonder shot on the green. This one shot drove media attention in a way we've never really seen before. Maybe it was because there wasn't a lot else going on at the time. This just requires a lot of topspin to slow the cue ball down off the baulk cushion, which I sort of did too well on my 2nd attempt, and realised I wasn't going to get, so I just cheated by using the one I did back from the German Masters video.
Make it nice and hard, we don't want to make it too easy.
Before our next shot, we're just going to find Fred from Bathurst, Canada, which is there. After the longest anticipated comeback in living memory, Stephen Hendry finally returned to the sport this year, but what no one anticipated is a surprise draw against a player he first played in the World Championships back in 1988, Jimmy White, who, due to current form, was the clear favourite to win the match and had Stephen in a lot of trouble in the 3rd frame. This one shot completely changed the game around and led to Stephen going on to winning the frame and ended up winning the match more comfortably than everybody predicted. Both players underperformed and Stephen went on to lose the very next match, but this certainly got quite a bit of media attention. I'm playing this with a small amount of left-hand side, and as you can see, as the pink's quite away from the pocket, just hitting it doesn't mean it's going to go in. It turned the game on its head, and it's by no means an easy shot.
You know, I keep stressing it's not a full-time comeback. I'm not going to play in every event.
One player who definitely wasn't excited by this match was Judd Trump, who was worried that focusing on the players of yesterday was ruining the game, and even launched a whole campaign to change the way we think about snooker.
Yeah, he owes me for a job, so we're going halves now. I've got him this, but it was good. Obviously, I said about getting a few younger people, different opinions in there, and for me, he's done a brilliant job so far. It's just nice to have the previous world champions with up-and-coming players, and I think they go well together.
This certainly made for a more entertaining show, but in the Gibraltar Open, Jimmy White went on a run that made headlines of his own. This brilliant snooker